She came to me for support with Overwhelm, and now she's helping women overcome overwhelm. Stay tuned for this week's client success story. Hey ladies, it's Amanda. Welcome to the Feel Amazing Naked podcast. This is a show where we dig deep, get honest, and talk about all the unsexy steps it takes to meet your goals. Whether you want to get fit, eat healthier, make more money, start a business, or any other results you desire in your life. Most of all, this podcast is for women who are ready to feel amazing naked on the outside and the inside. So ladies, time to take it off. Welcome to the show, ladies. As always, my favorite episodes are when I bring on women that I've had the opportunity to work with and celebrate them, talk about their journey. And I think it humanizes coaching a little bit, right? It's like, it's not just this magic thing going on behind the scenes. It really puts a name, a sound, a voice behind the coaching that we're doing. So I'm so excited to have Mindy today. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So in a funny turn, we actually were connected through a mutual friend in real life, like that I know that I've been friends with, that you met and became friends with. And I bring this up because I think it's important for us as coaches to remember, in this great big online world, there's still human connection. And when we meet real people, and our 6 degrees of separation really can be so powerful to attracting, I think, some of the best clients, which I would say has been you. For me, has been just a client that we connect with at a great level that's very coachable. So I'm grateful for that connection for sure.
100%.
So let's go back a little bit and rewind the clock to when we first met. Can you talk a little bit to where you were at that point in your life?
Yes, I was heavy all over, heavy physically, heavy mentally, emotionally. I had tried every diet out there, every diet pill, injection, program, system. I've dumped thousands of dollars into losing weight only to, gain in the end, gain weight. And I was miserable in my body, absolutely miserable in my body. Sex life was suffering. I hated looking in the mirror, taking pictures, hated Facebook memory photos, right? I feel like this is a similar story to a lot of people because I still hear it all the time. Hate it, hate it, hate it, hating it. On the outside, I was still fun and friendly and, easygoing Mindy, happy life, good home, beautiful kids, successful. You have everything to be grateful for. You should be, right? You should be happy. Just freaking eat less than you are. Stop, lots of shame around that. You're educated. You've learned all there is about calories and macros and input versus output. You're a smart person. What is wrong with you? Why can't you just fix this one thing? So I was pretty down and it was holding me back in all areas of life. The way I looked would held me back all over the place. And so when our mutual friend had suggested at least a year prior, you should check out Amanda because you were macro coaching at the time. You should check out Amanda. She's doing really great. She's getting a lot of results. Her clients are getting a lot of results. And I think at that point I was like, nah, I'm already doing this one thing. I'm not going to switch to something else. And so fast forward a year later when I was I don't remember what happened right then at that night when I was ready to just, you offered a
bonus or something,
a bonus or a training of some sort. And I was like, all right, I want to see what this is about. And when you offer your trainings, I'm all in. I mean, you speak my language to a T. So I had gone through, I think it was a 3-day, maybe it was even an hour. I don't know, whatever it was. I was like, yes, I want to talk to her. I booked a call. And I remember specifically when we spoke, I told you my sob story. I've tried everything and nothing's working. And you said to me the first time I've ever heard anybody in any weight loss
attempt, experience.
Container. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The first time anyone ever said, well, have you ever worked on your mindset? And I'd even seen therapists before about, other things, I guess, in my past. And that word had still never come up with therapy. But you said, have you ever worked on your mindset? And I was like, I don't know what that means. That was very woo. And I was not woo. I still don't think I'm woo, but I'm getting closer. And I was like, nope. And you said something like, well, I think I can help you. I'm going to mess this up. It was like, Would you be willing to try something that you've never tried before? I think I can help you get to where you want to be working through your mindset, something like that. And because it was something I'd never heard, and you were pretty sure that that was the key for me, and I had already, loved everything you were saying on the training, I was like, yeah. And I was desperate. I was like, yep, whatever you say, whatever you think mindset is, I'm in. I don't have a clue what you're talking about, but let's do mindset work.
Yes. Boom.
So,
Mindset work it is.
yep, mindset. And I was really hesitant to spend the money. I remember that it was more than I had spent on myself. And again, I went back to like, God, I've already thrown thousands at this weight loss crap. Like, I don't want to just keep throwing stuff and fail again. It's so shameful. It's so just, ugh, that feeling was just awful. So I struggled with the price. I remember that. And I think you were just like, I'm so convinced. You didn't say these words, but I think in your heart, you were like, I know exactly what this girl needs. And you said, I think you even said, like, let's try 3 months. It was 6 months of one-to-one coaching. You said, I'll tell you what, I'll go 3 months. I don't do this, and I don't want to like put out there that you do this. But you were like,
I don't do this anymore.
No, you do not do this.
6 months minimum.
Yeah. But you were like, let's do 3 months and see where you're at or see how you like it. I don't know. And this was the kicker that I do tell anytime I talk about working with you and working with a coach. 3 months had passed. And you were like, I need an answer, basically, right? You emailed me, you probably Voxered me, like, hey, what's the deal? 3 months is coming up. Like, are we going to keep going? And I hemmed and hawed, and because I hadn't lost, quote, the weight, right? I hadn't lost all the weight I wanted. I probably
weight,
had
the scale weight.
The scale weight, right? And I think I had lost some at the time, but I hadn't lost probably in the, what I wanted by then or whatever that number was. So I remember talking to my husband and saying, hey, I have to give Amanda an answer. What do you think? And I knew I wanted to keep going because I knew it was what I needed. But I still had that piece of me that was like, you need to check in with your husband and make sure that the money, is okay to spend. Partly out of respect as well. Well, probably a lot out of respect. Anyway, his answer was, and he hates when I say this, I have to put a disclaimer. He hates when I tell this part because he sounds like an a-hole, and he's not. But what he said was, well, you didn't lose the weight, but you do seem happier. My eyes got big. I remember I probably like stuck my head out, like, say that again? Because we hadn't talked about anything for 3 months. We hadn't talked about weight. We hadn't talked about anything you and I were working on. We hadn't talked about my mindset or me being happy. Nothing. I hadn't talked about anything with him. I was just doing my thing with you. And when he said, you do seem happier, and that is a quote, you didn't lose the weight, but you do seem happier. I was like, shit, are you kidding me? You noticed? You're telling me you noticed I seem happier? Yes, I'm going now to 3 months. Of course I am.
Done. I mean, it's such a great example. Thank you for sharing that, of just the ripple effect, because that's often why, that objection comes up for everybody listening who's having sales calls or is a woman who wants to invest. Like, one of the most common objections is my husband, right? Yeah. And the problem is that we don't think the ROI is for our spouses, like on the surface, right? But let's say you say yes to coaching and growing your business, like the spouse reaps the benefits of that as well, not just in the monetary benefits as you build revenue, but in the confidence, right? And you're seeing this in your own business. It's like all of a sudden they look at you and they're like, you're actually doing the damn thing, right? And they believe in you, and it builds this, synchronicity and trust between the two of you. That's so powerful. So, I mean, in the end, why do we want to lose weight? Why do we want to grow a business? It's to be happier. And the fact that he could actually, that was palpable from you, is like exactly the end goal anyways.
Totally. It's amazing that he picked up on that. I just still can't even believe it. I say it every time I talk to people, like, oh my God, you noticed?
Yeah. Powerful.
Yeah.
So we go through our journey focusing on this secret thing called mindset, right? And if we really look at mindset to define it, it's just a collection of thoughts and beliefs, right? But what we don't see as coaches, or as clients rather, from coaches, a great coach will say, wow, it is mindset, and the client doesn't know it, right?
Yeah.
And it's their thinking and their belief system that they aren't realizing is stopping them from moving forward in that direction, right? And the thought for me is like, how she does one thing is how she does everything, right? Yeah. So she sits in self-doubt, and she sits in evidence collection against herself in health and fitness, it's probably happening in these other areas of life, right? Which together breed this like self-growth. So talk to us a little bit about, what started to happen for you, because there's another part to this story, which we'll get to in just a second. You now are running a business because your experience in coaching was so transformative, but talk to like what started happening for you specifically around your results outside of the body transformation.
So I did one-on-one coaching with you, and then I did group coaching at the same time, which was amazing. And I just learned a whole new language, really, a whole new way of living. And I learned about the brain, and I just learned so much that you would think, having gone to multiple therapists, and not to say like I've been in therapy on and off for years and years and years, I wasn't, but I had seen a few different therapists trying to unlock why I couldn't get to happy. I come from a loving home. I have a loving husband. All these things I should be feeling. Why can't I get to happy? And I was convinced it was the weight thing. But working on mindset and coaching, I just learned, like I said, like a new language. I learned that there were, so many women out there that were feeling the same way as me. Learning that, well, yeah, you've been feeling this way for 30 plus years. Right? You've been collecting, like you said, you've been collecting evidence for 30 plus years of, see, you can't do this right. And see, you're not doing this right. And see, you did this wrong. And see, you couldn't even do this little thing. And I learned how, well, of course that's going to be tough to undo when your brain is conditioned to make you feel safe. And safety means continue to do what you've been doing. Right? Because that's, quote, working, like you're alive. You're somewhat healthy. You're a functional adult, so you must be doing okay. And really, all that thinking was doing was like keeping me stuck and keeping me down. And that's what I learned in coaching. And it was this major aha moment, like, oh my God, like, yes, I live this quote happy life, but if I could undo the thinking, and that it only took me to do that, not a pill, not a plan, then I think I need to be sharing that.
Yeah. I need to tell the whole world about it.
Yeah, did you guys know, right? Did you know you don't have to continue to feel this way just because your mom said this one time to you? Or
you're a grown-ass adult.
Yeah. But I have trauma, but you don't understand, this happened. Right? There's all this baggage. So I can't move on because I have all this baggage. Yeah, well, everyone's talking about baggage, right? Everyone has baggage. Everyone has a story. Everyone's level of tolerance is different. We all have shit, but that doesn't mean that we have to just sit and live around it. Like, oh, there it is, there it is, there it is. It's always with me, and I'll just keep living next to it or in front of it and keep looking back at it. I don't know. This is a strange analogy that I'm coming up with on the fly, but that doesn't mean. In fact,
it's an excellent metaphor, by the way, that you can use in your own coaching.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So learning the language and learning that there are names to the things I was thinking or patterns of belief that I was believing that were just that, beliefs, not truths. That was pretty incredible to learn, oh, I get to choose a different thought. What? It was like, how can I just sit on this and just hold on to it myself? I have to share this. It's bigger than oh, do you like these jeans? They're on sale. Go get them over here. It's bigger than I have to share the word or spread the word about this thing. It's no, you need to know. This is truly transformative. You don't have to keep living the way you've been living for 30 plus years. There's a whole other way to be without being woo.
Yeah. So fast forward, all these amazing things are happening. And I remember I was opening the doors to our Business Accelerator program, which is really helping coaches, online service providers begin to build out a business. And all of a sudden I got a message from you hey, tell me more about that. And I was like, what's happening? So talk to a little bit to why you ultimately decided to join that program. You have a living, breathing business now. You worked through that experience to now be serving clients of your own. Talk about, you kind of said it, I felt like I had to share these tools with more people, but what was the catalyst for you deciding to say yes to that dream?
Well, I was working at a different job, a corporate type job from home because of the pandemic. So I was going to the office actually, I was working from home a couple days a week at the time, but mostly in the office. And I really didn't like the job deep down. I really did not like what I was doing. I did it because it was easy. I did it because it was a paycheck. I was qualified. I was overqualified, but I was qualified. And I was working on a team of really great friends, women who became friends. So it was easy. It was just so easy. So why would you quit something that's easy where you're just going through the motions? I wasn't getting paid well. So I will say that if I was getting paid well, I'd like to think I would still leave because it wasn't firing me up, but I wasn't getting paid well. And I was beginning to hate the job more and more. The more I was learning about myself and how there was this other way to live, the more I hated what I was doing. And I realized that I was setting this example for my kids of easy and small is fine. It's fine. And I hated that I was talking this talk of like to my kids, you can be anything you want. You can do anything you want. The world is your oyster. Like just, anything that lights you up, right? You can go and be and do anything. And then here's me like sitting in my home office, like on a computer on Zoom and talking about,
shit you don't want to be talking about.
Shit I don't want to I don't know. Like just it was so just mundane. And and my kids knew I hated my job. Like they were starting to see like I would complain about it or I'd be like, this is ridiculous. I wasn't valued. Listen to the stupid, rule they came up with now. Or so I was showing them that living small and easy was okay and telling them something different, which was totally incongruent. And while I'm learning, there's another way to be and another way to parent, which I haven't even talked about, but man, this has like changed my parenting and yet still holding this role in my work life that was totally like not where I wanted to be. And then in the end, the final switch was I got the breast cancer diagnosis, which, I say that, I don't mean to say it lightly, like it's not a big deal, but to just get background, I had been getting biopsied basically every 6 months. I was on watch every 6 months. I have a very strong breast cancer history in my family. My mother passed away from it years ago. And so when the diagnosis came in this past May, it wasn't a shock, even though it was a shock to finally hear the word malignant. It wasn't crazy shock, but it was like, shit, okay, well, it's finally here. I mean, I kind of saw it coming. And it was like, well, it's finally here. I'm going to have to take a bunch of PTO. I'm going to have to go through 2 surgeries, major surgeries. And it was caught very early. So I wasn't worried. I wasn't thinking about death and very dark.
You weren't thinking in the dark thought side. It was more like, just let's get through it.
Yes. I was thinking like, okay, we got to attack this and move through it. And there is no way I'm staying in this job while battling this disease. Like this is going to take everything I have. And I'm not like, that was just it. Like, okay, there's my sign. I got this diagnosis. I'm not doing this job one more day. And in fact, while I'm going to be stuck at home for 6 months on a recliner between 2 surgeries, I can build my business. So I'd already kind of started building my business on the side a little bit, but I was like, okay, enter breast cancer, exit corporate job. I will now become who I want to be fully. So outside of a couple weeks of strong pain meds and healing, I was zooming, right? I was zooming with you. I was working on my business and I was like just building it from my recliner while I was healing. And that was
so inspirational.
That's where it was born. Yeah.
So tell us where you are with it now. How does it feel to have clients? How does it feel to be like going through the understanding, the deepenings of business? Like, tell me about it.
Yes. So I will say I am cancer-free and totally good and healthy there. And I have to say, like, this just exactly goes to your question. I did a podcast with Clarita, it's called A Day. And I didn't do a podcast. I'm sorry. We went live on Instagram and we were both talking about our cancer journeys. And this is just so interesting to me. She was diagnosed with breast cancer first, then dealt with her cancer, got a clean bill of health, and then went through coaching and now has a coaching business. And she talks a lot about how she sat as a victim for probably, I think, a good year after her cancer diagnosis, and then kind of felt like, okay, enough of this shit. I got to move on. Right. And then found coaching and became a different person, a different woman, excuse me, and an amazing coach. Me, I got coached prior to my breast cancer diagnosis. I had all this foundation of mindset and belief. And then the diagnosis came in and I fucking kicked cancer's ass. And I never once sat in victim mode, not once. I never had the why me feelings. I never, and this is totally not to minimize anyone. I don't want to come off like totally out of touch. Cancer is different for everyone, and everyone has a completely different story and journey. I'm just saying, for me, I believe the fact that I had been so amazingly coached by you and the community of women and practiced on myself, I know for a fact that is what kept me going strong enough to build a business while battling the damn disease. Like, I am convinced.
So I got goose pimples, little goose bumpies up. It's so powerful, right? The reframe of like the tools. And then like, if we want to go super woo about it, it's like, it fell into your lap, not for the weight loss. It fell into your lap for things that were way bigger that were coming. And you needed that foundation to get through that point. And when we look at it from that perspective, it's like everything happens for you. Right. And that's like a really cool perspective and reframe about the entire journey for sure.
Yeah. And I know anything that comes my way and my family's way, we will get through it. We not easily, not to minimize anything, but we will be okay because I know how to frame my own thoughts, which drives every decision I make, right? And how I live my life. And I now parent that way. And I see my kids' thoughts shifting or questioning. I don't know. It's cool. It's just cool.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that component. I didn't want to keep driving the discussion around that unless you felt open. So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. So tell me now about your business and where you sit with your business.
It's really good. I graduated BA. I remember I was struggling I had one client, I think during BA, she was kind of like my test client, which was great. And then after the one, it just was flat. And I was like, nothing's coming. And we had our retreat, talked about doing a launch, and I finally pulled the trigger and did a launch, which was the one thing keeping you stuck and how to overcome it.
You had a workshop, yeah?
I did a workshop. Yep. Thank you. It was an hour workshop on Instagram that people had to sign up for. And it was amazing. I had a bunch of women come. And from that, some booked calls. And even though some didn't even attend the workshop, I think somehow my messaging was starting to click with people on Instagram or Facebook.
Oh, it's funny how we work that messaging so much the whole time, right?
Yeah. Yep. And they had decided to book some calls too. So right around the time that I did that workshop, I was getting a lot of traction and people started calling and saying, I really think that what you're saying is what I need. Like, you're in my head, or I've been following you for a while, and I really think that you could help me. And at the time of the launch, at the time of the workshop, I was looking at helping women that were kind of feeling how I was feeling.
The old you, the past
the
you.
old me. Yeah. And this is just really interesting lately. So now I have several clients. I'd say more than several. I don't know. And when I took inventory, I was working with Tiffany on getting my messaging clearer, Tiffany Newman. And she was having me look at my clients. And I realized when I looked at my list of all my ladies, they all were business owners, except for one who is a VP pretty high up in her company. The rest of them were all business owners. And they all have kids except for one. And so I was trying to figure, we were just looking for patterns. And I was like, holy shit, they're all business owners. And we were like, yes, that means something. I am attracting women who work, women who want to kick ass, women who want all of it. They want to work and they want to parent amazingly. I mean, like, they know they have it in them. They know they used to, or they know they should be somewhere else, should be doing something different. Something is off, or some things are off in both business and personal life, and they can't figure out why it's not working for them. And I had another aha while working
Feels
with
good,
teammates.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, these are my people. I want women who want to kick ass at work or in their business and at home. Kids or no kids. I mean, my language is parenting too, but I want the woman who wants to know that she can, basically my program is from chaos to control, like going from like everything. I want to do it all, but I don't know how to do it all. When I'm here, I feel like I should be there. When I'm here, I feel like I should be there, right? When I'm at work, I feel guilty. I'm not doing this. When I'm with my kids or when I'm home or living a personal life, I feel like I should be working. And so taking women to be able to do all of it and all of it well on their terms.
I love
just
it.
like you do.
Well,
Right.
thank you. And I mean, that's your journey. That's who you were and how you've utilized coaching is to help you control, right? Control not just your mindset around your health and your experience with the diagnosis, but also how you maneuver through a business, right? Being able to do those things. And so I think it's so powerful. And what you affirm too is like iterations, right? We go through business and we just have these iterations and we have these ahas. I was using this metaphor with a client before. Is like we really rush. We want to rush to the end, right? We want the end outcome. In this case, the revenue, the clients. But it's kind of like a Lego set, right? Building the Lego set isn't about, like, if I think about my son, like the process of building out the Legos is where the magic and the fun actually is. That's how I view entrepreneurship is I'm getting to the outcome. And yes, I want the outcome to produce revenue for me, but the journey through like each little tiny Lego, it's kind of cool to see like these little onion layers peel back and you get clarity, through the process too.
Yeah. And it's really cool. Again, just like in coaching, you're just, like you said, you're peeling back, like you're uncovering everything you have is all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I can learn tools, I can read books, but it's still all coming from my experience, my framework, my perspective, and how I present that, I guess.
Yeah. So what would you say, women are listening to you share this incredible story and journey that you've experienced? What would you say to someone who's on the fence of still like, I'm afraid to invest, I'm afraid to pull the trigger on coaching in some capacity? What would be the one thing you would tell them?
I mean, I don't think there's anything out there like coaching, one-to-one or group, to be honest, coaching. I mean, one-to-one, you're going to get it just tailored to you, which speaks to me. There's no other me out there. There's no other you out there. So one-to-one coaching, there's nothing like that. And there's also, I mean, there's benefits to both, but there's no better investment than investing in yourself, right? There's no better investment. Real estate, cars, merchandise, like it's just so surface. But if you don't invest in yourself, you can't even enjoy the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a no-brainer. We keep changing our circumstance, hopping circumstance to circumstance. I'll put money here, I'll put money here, I'll put money here. It's band-aids all over the place. But if you can't heal from the inside first, I'll go to the band-aid metaphor, what's the freaking point? Why build that multi-million-dollar custom home that you've worked so hard for if you don't even want to look in the mirror in your beautiful bathroom? Why get in your fancy car if you don't even want to like be seen getting in it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. And the thing about business investment is this, from my perspective, it's like the short-term monetary sacrifice for thousands of dollars to be gained, like by building a foundation, not just of strategy, but of mindset, right? I always say to you all that I coach, our business problems are our personal problems and vice versa, right? So if we're not growing as a human, then our business is going to come against these caps, right? These ceilings that we place until we understand ourselves enough to grow through it, like whatever belief or limiting decision has come up. And I think that's where coaching has so much value is we can't see those things inside of ourselves. And when you're in a community too, right, we get to see them in other people and be like, no, I see this in you, right? And they're kind of our mirrors to our own growth as well.
Yeah. I also think unless you've been raised by someone who kind of already knows this stuff, these little mindset tools, like it's newer thinking, right? I mean, it hasn't even been around for, I don't know how long it's been around, but certainly not when our mothers were mothering us or our parents were parenting us. So unless you're raised in an environment where thoughts and beliefs and mindset and being curious about your own thinking is constantly modeled, how on earth would you know that that's a possibility? So I'm convinced this is something everyone needs because no one had it
It's
until
true.
now. And so
True.
now that's one other reason I feel like it's partly my responsibility to help teach others because we didn't know what we didn't know. Like you said, we can't read the label from inside the bottle, but if you don't know it, and how could you be expected to? So that's
Yeah.
another like shame thing there. Like I'm 40 something years old. I should know how to eat by now. I should know how to do X, Y, Z by now. Well, if you weren't taught, why should you know?
I think that the shame part, right, comes up. It's like letting yourself free from the shame of getting support. You're not meant to do it alone. That's why we need each other. That's why I hire people to do other things for me, right? Why is coaching any different? So yeah, I agree. All right. Well, give us a little shout out. How can the ladies listening connect with you and learn more about you if they desire?
Yes. So, well, right now, the best and easiest way to find me is on Instagram at Mindy Lang Coaching.
Can you spell your last name for us?
So Mindy, Mindy, Lang, Lang, Coaching. Mindy Lang Coaching.
Perfect.
Yep.
Amazing. And soon to be, you're going to have this amazing website and all the amazing things that are coming along, which you are proof that you don't need those things to have a thriving business. They can come later.
That's right. Maybe by the time anyone hears this, there will be something more.
Maybe. We'll see. And we'll put it in the show notes, of course. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I'm proud of you. I'm honored. Thank you for the sweet words and kind words. You're definitely an inspiration in so many ways to ladies listening.
Well, thank you for having me. And thank you for everything you have done for me and my family. We all thank you.
The Feel Amazing Naked podcast is growing, literally doubling downloads every single month. And it's humbling, but really it's all because of you. So I just want to say thank you for listening and continuing to listen. Help us grow by sharing the Feel Amazing Naked podcast on your social media platform. If you're listening to an episode, take a screenshot, share it in your story, on your social, tag me, leave a review if you feel so inclined, but please allow me to help more women by sharing the awesome content that I create. So thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me.